never sleeps, pal.
Welcome to Money Never Sleeps, a podcast that looks inside the head of entrepreneurs and what makes them do what they do. A wise person once said, unless you're waking up in the middle of the night taking notes on your startup, that's not what you're cut out for. You don't pick your business idea picks you. How does this happen, and what keeps entrepreneurs going back for more? I'm Pete Townsend, and this is our 4th episode of Money Never Sleeps. Welcome! In this episode, we talk to Sean Murphy and Ed Barrett-Shortt from Simpler, who are dramatically simplifying the mortgage application process. While Sean and Ed are not related, something about them reminded me of the Collison brothers, the founders of Stripe, with their confident yet humble personas. The guys met in school in Wexford here in Ireland at the age of 14 and became fast friends. After finishing school, Sean and Ed each went off on their own adventures but got together in 2017 to found Simpler. I really think that these guys are onto something, and if they can truly ease the pain that they set out to ease, we'll see them on the global stage in no time, right up there with Stripe. Never hurts to set the bar high, guys. Go big or go home. On with the show. All right, we're here for episode number 4 of Money Never Sleeps, live from Start Lab, powered by Bank of Ireland, here on Camden Street in Dublin. I'm Pete Townsend.
I'm Owen Fitzgerald.
We got the two guys from Simpler here with us today, Sean Murphy and Ed Barrett-Shortt. Guys, hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good. You guys want to maybe just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do with Simpler?
Yeah, so basically Simpler is going to be Ireland's first online mortgage broker. And we're going to market in July. I mean, that's the short story.
I thought he was the short story.
I'm the short guy. He's Barrett-Shortt. Yeah, so I mean, we're trying to bring a bit of innovation, a bit of simplicity to the application process, and just make it a far easier experience for first-time buyers trying to get on the market right now. That's what we're trying to do. That's what Simpler is.
And that's your background then, Sean, I suppose, from on the mortgage broking side. That's where it kind of came from, is it?
I would have worked in the property industry for 5 years and kind of got out of it, kind of done my own thing about 2 or 3 years ago with our CTO Kieran. So we set up a data aggregation company kind of after PSD2 was announced. So we were playing around with the BBVA APIs back in that's a lot of acronyms. We were messing around with that back in the summer of 2016, which is 2 years ago, which seems a bit crazy. And couldn't figure out a way to make money out of it, basically. So why would somebody want to use a bank API? I mean, that's the real question. From absolutely no APIs at all, from going to like a paper format, we were trying to think, what is the thing that would make somebody actually want to give their bank statements to a third party? And obviously that thing is, mortgages more than anything else. People want mortgages right now because between 2011 and 2016 we built 9,000 houses in this country. I know everybody makes that face. We checked the numbers like 60 times. The 9,000 houses, I think it was 8,800 were built between 2011 and 2016.
That doesn't seem like a lot.
It's not very many at all. It's not very many at all. During that time 178,000 people came into the country.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I think we need about 25,000 per year just to keep up with demand.
With demand, yeah. So basically what you're seeing right now is there's a huge spike in prices because there's not enough houses on the market. So not everybody who wants a house is able to get a house. So brokers are faced with an additional problem of not everybody who comes to them to get a mortgage is actually getting a mortgage. So it causes an additional problem for first-time buyers in that brokers actually have to charge up front to make it worth their while to give financial advice. It's only about 20% of the people who are walking through their door are actually getting a mortgage. And it takes about 5 months for them to get paid. So we're coming into the market as free option, free financial advice. That's helping first-time buyers get on the property ladder with all the new property that's going to be coming on the market in the next years. Okay, so you're coming on the market with a free option, free advice. How did you two guys get together and decide that you're going to do something for free?
Well, how we got together, I mean, we've known each other for a very long time. I mean, we went to school together, and as you heard, Sean's had his data aggregation company for a couple of years now, and myself and our other partner, Danny, we've had a branding communications agency for close to 7 years now. So Sean said to me one day, do you want to come and maybe put these two together and see what we can do? Because obviously selling mortgages to people is a public matter.
Okay.
we're helping people get homes. If it was going to be customer facing, we knew we needed a strong brand. We needed to be able to put together the right sort of marketing strategy for it. So we decided to sort of shack up together.
Literally,
we do actually live together.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Different beds,
different bedrooms.
It's not Bert and Ernie or
Saving
anything.
our costs.
And is it non-stop right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of the calm before a storm right now. We're building for July. Once we hit July, that's when we hit market, and it's going to get a lot more intense.
And how are you going to get it to market? What are your channels that you guys are using to communicate and get it out there?
Primarily through social media. I mean, first-time buyers are our market, so we know that's people sort of 27 to 37. Where they're getting their news, where they're getting the information is primarily through social media. So we're going to hit them up there with a combination of inbound and outbound marketing.
Okay.
And you've been doing this for 7 years on the brand side. I mean, how did you get into that? Or you just didn't want to get a normal job?
Boring story. I'll give you a short version of it. So I started a publishing company when I was in my sort of final year of university, and out of the publishing company I realised that sort of doing the creative work was much more lucrative, so we sort of dumped the publishing side of it, moved into creative, and we just sort of found that branding was probably the most enjoyable aspect of any sort of creative business to do. So we've done that, and we do little bits in marketing, do little bits in PR, do little bits in advertising as well. So full service.
Have you found then, I suppose, and no disrespect, but you guys are young, so you're starting to build businesses that, you know, I suppose even in the mortgage space, you're probably dealing with banks and brokers who are significantly older than you. Would argue that they have more experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how's that a challenge?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I went straight from college right into the property industry. So, I mean, I was almost always the youngest person in the room by about 13 years, pretty much all the time. So you kind of get used to talking to these kind of people and just understanding things from their point of view. So we try not to beat people over the head with technology all the time. You kind of approach it from the business point of view, and, you know, if the numbers make sense, you know, it kind of makes sense no matter what age you are. You know, that's kind of what we find.
So when was the moment that you realized you had something here?
Yeah, I think we were talking about this yesterday. People kept on returning our emails. People were just
imagine that.
Yeah.
We're having meetings with people.
They weren't GDPR emails, were they?
We're having meetings with people who are a lot smarter than us, a lot more successful than us, and they're being really nice and friendly and going out of the way to help us and set up whatever contacts we need, set up future meetings.
No, I think we sent around. We kind of put together the concept and we put it on a reading deck, and we kind of sent it around to everyone that we knew, and they sent it around to everyone that they knew. And I think we got at least one meeting, I would say, with somebody who knew what they were talking about every week for about 12 weeks. So the momentum was there, people were interested, we'd meet somebody, they'd send us on to somebody else. So yeah, we knew we were onto something at that point.
Just between the two of you guys, obviously this is a, you know, real partnership here doing this, right? Why do you think it works between the two of you?
We got two more. We've got four. It's on a.
You do? Okay.
It's like a tetrarch. I don't know what you call that.
The Avenger.
They're like gremlins almost.
They just keep appearing.
With the acceptable face, we're front of house.
Okay.
We've got two developers that we keep locked in a room upstairs.
Okay. They're gonna love it when this one comes out, won't they?
They won't be listening.
No, but I mean, how does it work? How does it work between the two of you to keep things moving every day? And it seems like into the night as well, if you're living together,
No.
right?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, there's always something on the agenda. I mean, there's always a critical path. I mean, before we had the market goal of getting there in July, it was, how do we meet the regulatory requirements? And even now we're kind of thinking of, obviously the critical path is getting a product to market in July. The next thing after that is, making sure we're in a decent cash flow position in Q1 next year. I mean, there's always something there. And I mean, it's not, once you finish something, you celebrate for like 5 seconds and it's okay. Yeah. Tomorrow let's sit down and then start worrying about the next thing. So I mean, there's never a lull. I mean, there's never.
We've both got experience of running our own businesses, and we're both very driven people, so we don't ever have to sort of give the other one a bit of a kick or anything. So we know what we have to do independently.
Ever?
No, not really.
No, not yet. No, not yet.
As Sean looks strangely at Ed with a sideways glance.
No, but it's clear. I mean, it's very clear that you guys kind of epitomise the entrepreneur mindset, which is why probably it works so well, because you're both coming at it from the same point of view.
Yeah.
You mentioned cash flow a few seconds ago. How do you feel about cash flow at this stage in terms of your own? Obviously, you're all in. You're doing it. That is one of the key things with any entrepreneur is cash flow. What's coming in, what's going out.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of especially difficult for the business we're in, because once we actually even get a customer in July, it's going to take maybe 4 or 5 months for that to turn into cash.
Yeah.
So obviously, that's a problem. We might be in a unique situation where we're drastically trying to get people into the funnel before the money comes in. So yeah, I expect cash flow is going to be difficult over the next few months, but it's just going to be a difficult period, and that's pretty much it.
The reality of being an entrepreneur.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
You have to do 1 or 2 days of consulting here or there to keep earning pay.
Have you guys kind of figured out with the businesses that you have launched before and what you've done, that lessons that you've learned that you're driving into what you guys are doing now?
Yeah, it's kind of impossible not to, really.
Well, it's tough, right? Because I've worked with a number of businesses, number of fintech startups. It's different every time. Yeah. It all comes down to me, really, the personality of the founder, their team that they built, right? Yeah. That's the first and most important thing, and that's what VCs look at when they're making an investment in an early stage company: is what's the team? How do they work together? Do they like each other, right? Are they going to stick through this thick and thin, regardless of whether you got the ups or the downs on any given day? Another friend who's in this said that before I launched my business, he said, Pete, just be careful, because there's going to be 29 potentially bad days a month and 1 good day. But that 1 good day makes up for all the 29 bad days 10 times over, right? And you'll get that. So, it's
probably made us a bit more level-headed, I would say. Yeah, okay. Certainly. Yeah. So, the highs aren't as high and the lows aren't as low, I suppose. You're going to get a lot more lows than lows. So, if you're going to get super emotional, you're going to have a bad time more often than not. It's that simple. On a macro level, I suppose, what I learned from the last business would be, and I suppose that's why I was so keen to get Ed and Danny involved, is that having a good product or a good idea, it's not really worth anything. In one sense, it's how people perceive that idea, and that's why people, like Ed, like Danny, who have the kind of branding and design expertise, show people, do the product justice and do the service justice. Okay. And I think that's something I've certainly added since the last time.
And Danny's one of the guys locked upstairs?
He is indeed, yeah.
Danny's in Estonia.
Oh yeah, he's in Estonia.
Is he?
Yeah.
Between you guys, how do we talked a bit before about you guys seem to be working together quite well, but who else is there? Who else do you lean on?
Yeah, there's a lot of people, so we're lucky we've got some, I suppose, outside advisors that we can lean on for help. So if something's really got us stuck, for having problems with various different things, there are a lot of people who help us out and give us excellent advice. So we're certainly not on our own. We've got at least 4 people who have exited successful businesses or are involved in successful businesses who give us a lot of advice and put an arm around our shoulder sometimes when things aren't going as well as they should be. So,
is it a challenge then to separate the kind of friendship from the business bit?
It hasn't gone badly enough yet.
Between us,
yeah. Between the 4 of you, if you include the 2 guys in the room.
No, you're right. Things haven't gone badly.
Yeah,
I
think we need to wait until things go really, really badly.
I think we'll be fine,
and then we'll see all those cracks forming.
Yeah. I think we've had enough drunken falling outs to make that affect us, to be honest.
I don't drink, so I don't
That's true. Me neither.
Yeah.
A glass of wine with lunch, maybe.
Yeah.
What do you guys find keeps you going? What's that driving force? We talked about cash flow. We talked about building something. But what is it inside you that you think makes you want to do this?
I don't know. I think it's just intense frustration with how things are right now.
Okay.
That's just, you're looking at a problem and you just see people complaining all the time. I can't get my mortgage through. Well, they're not going to talk to me about a mortgage. So I'm self-employed. So not a chance. How does that? Yeah. So you can see where we're coming from. You can see all the bank data. It's stuck in the form of printed bank statements. None of this stuff makes any sense.
Do you think it's just what markets have you seen in addition to Ireland where you where you see your product being a complete no-brainer?
Well, there's guys in the UK doing similar stuff already.
Okay.
There's guys in the States doing similar stuff
Australia as
already.
well,
yeah. And if you look around Ireland in general, I mean, what B2C fintech companies, do you see? There's not a whole lot of them. It just doesn't really exist. I find that in itself kind of it's strange, and it's kind of frustrating. I mean, I want the best products. I would love to not have to get a PDF or a printed bank statement. I would love that.
But like I see it, and I think aside from the obvious generational piece, where younger generation expecting, but like when you compare, Amazon will recommend so many things for you, and Netflix will make recommendations. The fact that your bank would have all this information about you and can't recommend or tell you anything about, like, the best information on you and can tell you nothing and send you it in paper form, it's crazy. So I guess the frustration alone would drive you to want to change something.
Yeah. Well, look, I know there's obviously reasons behind it. But I'm just saying, as a person from the outside who can't see all the reasons in the background, you look at every other aspect of your life, and it doesn't make sense.
I was thinking about this recently. I was talking to somebody about it that, here in Ireland, country of 5 million people, right? You look at the UK, was it 65 million?
Yeah.
US over 300 million. And doing what I do and Owen doing what he does, that we see a lot obviously out there in terms of the propositions in the market around fintech, and there's so many of them that we can't get here in Ireland, right? Just the fact that I got an N26 account was awesome, and that does very little. It's a lot better than some of the current solutions out there, but it doesn't do much. I see even more of that coming out of the US now, but is there anything linked back, you think, to, I've been in Ireland for 12 years, I sense in the Irish culture a tendency not to make a big deal about things.
Yeah.
Right. And not to going back through 800 years of history and so on and so forth, and we won't get into that. But there,
let's not get into that bit, okay?
Dude, I've got English blood too. It's okay. I can use the road. But there's something there, and all it has to do with, I think it's just in our DNA now in Ireland, and I am a citizen now, but saying that we don't make a big deal about things. And is that a reason why it's taken this long for some of these things to come to market in Ireland? It's just because consumers aren't making a big deal about things?
I think people just naturally write off Ireland as too small a market.
Okay.
To look at building a product like this. I mean, I was actually talking to someone about this morning. If around the PSD2 regulations, stuff like that, if you're looking for like an AISP license or a PASP license, you need to hire staff. You need to do all sorts of things. Like I know people who are trying to get an AISP license. They need to hire like three members of staff to get a license. So I mean, you can't start a kind of seed level company in that space in Ireland because it's just too small. If you're focused on the Irish market, nobody's interested because the payoff's not there. They're going to have to invest 200k, on a risk, no market validation, nothing.
Yeah,
it's almost impossible.
I think we see that in lots of conversations we have with people there. I mean, the first question, or the second or third question, whatever, is always, what's next after Ireland? Like, there's a lot of money to be made in this country. There's a big market here. You can have a very successful company in this country.
Yeah, well, people talk about Ireland as a small market, and like in terms of property market, it's not a small market at all. It's a very, very large market.
And to a degree, it's a great market for testing stuff. But obviously,
yeah, of course.
Yes, there's a lot of property sales and stuff, but at the same time, we are a small market. So money can be made, and you can do, especially when you're bringing a solution that just isn't there. Mm-hmm. So clearly, going to market with something that nobody else is doing, initially, will do great things. But then, now is the time for people to be bringing these solutions. So there will be another one targeting Ireland first. So then there'll be competition, and then it'll need to be, well, what next?
Yeah, and I'd say as well, to be now inclusive rather than divisive, is that with the closeness of Ireland to the UK culturally, right? If you get something off the ground in Ireland in this market with a limited go-to-market cost investment, bringing it over to the UK is that much easier. And then with the closeness of the Irish culture to the wonderful place called Boston, where I came from, for example, right? You're going to find that cultural similarity where getting into the US from Ireland is that much easier. And then you've got the rest of the European Union on your doorstep. So it makes sense, and I'm speaking with others about a similar concept on why they're building their product first in Ireland.
Yeah, no, it is an interesting idea, I suppose, the whole thing. I mean, where the fintech, are they going to start in Ireland with the B2C piece and then move out into the UK? Maybe not now. It is what depends on the regulatory situation, what that's going to be. Or are they going to go to the EU where the regulatory situation is the same, but it's far more culturally different?
Yeah, I think I forgot about a little thing called Brexit, didn't I?
Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely interesting. What's a bigger barrier? Is it regulatory or is it cultural? I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I would bet that cultural is a bigger barrier than the regulatory stuff at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we've covered a huge amount of stuff.
We did cover a huge amount of stuff.
We always like to kind of wrap up with one of our questions around what is a thing that people wouldn't expect to know about you. So we'll go individually. I know you guys have been doing loads of prep on this. Look, to lead into it, to put you guys at ease, Pete spoke the last time about his love of Lego. My story, I suppose, if you want to call it that, I did a J1, a student visa in the US in 2005. I worked in a very fancy hotel as a lifeguard for their indoor and outdoor pool. You guys already know the story, but I can't swim.
I didn't know
I can't swim. I couldn't swim to save my own life, so I certainly wasn't going to save anybody else's life. But yeah, I couldn't swim, but the pool was 6 feet in the deep end, so I figured I could stand in there and save somebody. So that's something people don't usually know about me. All my kids can swim better than me.
Right.
So it's
We actually done a prep sheet for this, right? And whatever way the printers worked, it's printed out everything without the vowels on it.
I can figure out what it says. Neither of these things are actually interesting.
They're not really interesting at all.
Yeah.
That's a weird one. People always laugh at me now when I tell them I used to play sports. So I'm guessing that's a bad thing. I used to be pretty decent at
/soccer.
football.
You were
Very
good at football, yeah.
So yeah, I've done that for a few years until I got a series of injuries and got fat and just stopped playing. Yeah. So now people laugh at me and say, "Oh no, he's really good." I was like, no.
Not believable.
Nobody believes it.
No, we believe you. We believe you, Sean.
Absolutely. We're going to Google you after this.
Yeah, Google Sean Murphy, see what's happening.
That's right. I have absolutely nothing interesting to add there, but one thing people generally don't believe when they meet me is that I've been living in this country for 18 years. I've been here since I was 9, and for some reason the accent hasn't changed.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
It won't go.
You've been here since you were what?
I've been here. I've just been here for a long time.
Yeah.
How does that work? I mean,
some people, the accents just sort of.
Who is
rub
it that you talk out of your day? The percentage of people with an Irish accent that you speak to versus people with other accents. Does that have anything to do with it?
No idea.
No.
idea.
No. I for me it was I was speaking to people in Luxembourg, France, Italy, Germany, England all day when I was in the corporate world, and so it stuck, right? Because I didn't have the ear for the Irish accent.
Yeah.
And my wife has a very light Irish accent, so it never happened for me, right? But
I'm relatively happy.
there's hope. there's hope for us yet, Ed.
Yeah. I think so.
Cool.
all right, listen, guys, thanks so much for being on the show. Really interesting. I look forward to hearing it in the playback. And for anyone that's listening, thanks again.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
We'd like to thank Sean Murphy and his brother from another mother, Ed Barrett-Shortt, for opening up their minds for the 4th episode of Money Never Sleeps, a podcast brought to you by Owen Fitzgerald and me, Pete Townsend. We'd also like to thank Gav Timlin and Conan Brophy from Create Sound for recording and editing this podcast. Finally, thanks to Start Lab on Camden Street in Dublin, a startup incubator run by Bank of Ireland, for hosting us and for the important role they play in helping Irish startups get started. Till next time, see ya!
Money never sleeps, pal.